Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Rick Godley I am, and I say welcome in because we literally are inside of the Lincoln Parish Museum, 609 North Vienna in Ruston, and we're going to be talking, well, we have coffee cake with Kay. Kay Prince is going to be our guest, and she is loaded with historical stories, and so I wanted to start to capture some of these here because Kay, you turn around and she will tell you, you know I'm a fifth generation riser. No, I didn't know that, Kay, but she will take us in any direction possible. So let's get an introduction underway. Kay, thank you so much for taking the time and doing this.
Thank you for doing this. The Lincoln Parish Museum is very important to me, and I hope the importance and significance of it grows immensely with the present generation. Coming from the past to the present has been a long journey, and it's part of the culture, it's part of the economic impact, it's part of the educational value that Lincoln Parish and Ruston are known for.
Well, Kay, I know that you're a teacher of many, many decades. I'm here to tell you what I sense, that the generations behind you and I do have a hunger, do have a thirst, and they want to know more about their past, because Ruston has a great present right now, and we can have the opportunity to create a remarkable future. And right at the hub of that is this Lincoln Parish Museum and the Historical Society. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we are on the eve of the sesquicentennial of Lincoln Parish. So
I agree.
We are poised here at the museum to honor the past, in the present, and grow toward the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we do need to know a little bit about the past.
A lot about the past.
This has not always been Ruston or Lincoln Parish. When this area first began to be settled, it was part of Jackson Parish. And then in 1846, Wooten Richardson came here, and he was a young man, 28 years old. I don't know where his money came from, but he bought property that included the town, what we know as the city of Ruston, all the way out past what we know as Tarbutton Road, and included Cooktown and so forth. And he was a farmer. Peas, corn, cotton, turnips, all kind of vegetables, plus the cotton. And eventually, a man by the name of Robert E. Russ, this was all in the westward movement, and Russ came from Alabama and settled here. Now remember that the economic communities, the quote towns were Vienna and on the north, and Vernon on the southeast. And this is somewhere in between. But Russ came, he was only 25 years old, and he bought 684 acres from Wooten Richardson. And how
much was it an acre?
$1.25 an acre. But he didn't have the money to pay him. He was going to have to farm and make some money before he could pay. So he paid $1,700 on January the 1st in 1859, and the other $1,700 on January the 1st in 1860. And as I said, you know, he came here to farm. He had been told what a wonderful land this was, somewhere between the two rivers, the Washita and the Red River, and that there was plenty timber that he could build his house with. He could clear land and sell timber. He could do whatever.
Now this is Robert Russ.
This is Robert Russ, following in Wooten Richardson's tracks.
If I may, we all know Robert Russ, or the name, and Ruston for his namesake. Locally, Wooten Richardson, is there anything of historical presence, like a street name, or did he kind of fade off into history? Do we know?
He rather faded into history. Mm-hmm. He really did. He was a very well-known, highly respected man and farmer. And he did a lot for the area, but Russ apparently had as we all do, a need for money, for resources.
From time to time.
Yeah, and he hears of the railroad tracks coming through, headed toward Monroe. And he sold a 150-foot wide right-of-way for the entire width of his property to the railroad company for $50.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's Lincoln legends and lore, and somewhere in all of that is the truth, but I have heard that Vienna was poised to be the seat of Lincoln Parish, but because of Robert Russ's move, it got moved down here to where we are.
When Russ did this, the families in Vienna realized what was happening and that Ruston was going to be where the action was. Now, it wasn't Ruston yet.
Correct.
And they start, the Colvins, for example, other families started moving down here. Well, Russ did sell a great deal, but before he started selling, he realized the needs of the community, what it would be, and he donated land for numerous things, and I want to tell you a few of those. He actually donated more land than he sold. He donated land for the First Baptist Church. He was quoted as saying, "I am a Baptist and I'll always be a Baptist, and I believe in complete immersion." And so that, led to the First Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. And it was that block that we know to be where the First Baptist Church is today. He also...
You mean on Alabama, not out on the interstate?
Oh, no. The First Baptist Church on Trenton Street.
So you went before generation. You see, when I moved to Ruston in '82, First Baptist was on Alabama with the singing Christmas tree. But you're talking about the original First Baptist on Trenton Street, which would be on what block today? Do you know? Oh, my bad. I'm thinking of Temple Baptist. My gosh, I'm causing a schism already.
You're right.
Oh,
you're right. I was going to say,
Rick, be careful.
Rick, that was Temple Baptist that had the singing Christmas tree and all.
Okay,
and,
my bad.
I'm not going to be able to tell you many addresses.
That's fine.
And the reason is, I grew up here, and we knew where everybody lived, but we never paid any attention to an address. Right. And that's kind of stuck with me. But I do know Trenton and Vienna streets. And but anyway, he donated land for First Baptist Church. He donated land for the courthouse. He donated land for the Methodist Church. And that was at the corner of Alabama and Trenton, where J.C. Penney's used to be. okay? And if you are driving south on Trenton Street and you look at that building that exists there now, in the parking lot, you see the arched windows from the original Trinity.
That's where the eye care specialist is right now. You can see, right.
And a bookshop.
A bookshop, and the bike shop is that was the J.C. Penney building, but the Methodist Church, the original Methodist Church, donated by Robert Russ. Coffee Cakes with K were in the Lincoln Parish Museum, as we are restoring and revitalizing and rebooting this resource one breath at a time, with having podcasts not only on the front porch but also inside the house. And so we're talking about Wooten Richardson. It's almost as if, Kay,
no, this is Russ.
I know that, but if it wasn't for Wooten, there may not have been a Robert Russ. And so
that is Robert. That is true.
So we're on to Robert Russ making all these donations. Continue.
Yes. And if we've got a train coming through, we certainly want a depot. So he created land for the depot. And I remember at that time, it was just east-west railroad. And he donated the land. He created Railroad Park because he thought it was important for families to come to town and the children to have a place to play while the parents shopped. And if you lived here very long, you know of the beautiful, massive oak trees that came with that.
Right.
And that the whole area was likened to that, that he bought. He also donated land for the Ruston oil mill, and that was, like I said,
well, this is the beauty. Don't fret, because people that are watching this are going to be screaming at the screen, which is fine. Just post where we're trying to think of. That way we engage the watchers.
Okay.
So the Ruston oil mill.
If you're headed south and cross the railroad tracks and turn right, about where an apartment complex is now.
No, is that with the old Morgan Coffee Company? Is that with the original building, the Ruston?
No, that was more where the cleaners was.
Okay.
Or is.
All right, this is good. People are shouting at their screens. Keep shouting.
Yes. I don't know what, and there was a huge scale. It was in the ground, and there were boards that it was like a drive-through. The reason I remember this is because my daddy would go there to buy fertilizer, and he would take his horses there to weigh them. And I'm sure they weighed cotton there too, because the cotton warehouse was on the other side of the railroad tracks behind that, and fronted Monroe, what we know as Monroe Street. There,
which they just are in the process of updating, revamping, so Ruston continues to adapt and grow. It's really neat. And this is all where this was happening, the epicenter, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. But he couldn't do it all by himself, but he did serve in several capacities. He didn't declare it didn't become a city until 1884, but he served 5 terms on the police jury. He was the first sheriff, and I remember this was in Jackson Parish.
So it wasn't formally Lincoln Parish, is what you're saying?
Yeah, until it became Lincoln Parish in 1873, but he was the first sheriff in Lincoln Parish, and he was the superintendent of education, and he created the Farmers Union. You can see by his donations what a generous and forward-thinking man he was, and what kind of city he wanted this to become. But what was he going to do for teachers? And he created a one-room school, and that one-room school had kids up to, I think it was 13, you know, and
almost like an Amish schoolhouse.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And there was an attorney here, Colonel Stubbs, Colonel F.P. Stubbs, and that's important.
Well, Stubbs, I know, I recognize that name. I just want to make sure for people that are watching this, the attorney was here, did not have a billboard, and it did not say one call, that's all. It's
that's right.
Okay, so.
You're right about that. So, one other donation. Greenwood Cemetery. That was part of his farm. Now, when he bought the property from Wooten Richardson, that included Wooten Richardson's house, and that sat at the end of Monroe Street, and it was that the entire block was part of was Wooten Richardson's property, and that Robert E. Russ bought. Mm-hmm. Okay, Robert E. Russ buys the house. Now, we're not talking about a mansion. We're talking about 2 20 by 20 rooms.
Baby Hayes has a sketch of that, am I right?
Yes.
And I'll get that, and people are looking at it right now because I'll post it up there. That,
yes.
It almost looks like a dog trot house, or was it?
Yes. And it was Russ that added the front porch, and eventually he closed in one side of the front porch for another room. The kitchen was not included in the house. The kitchen was in a building out back, and of course he had to have help, and as had Wooten Richardson, and I don't know which, but they created a section for the slaves, which was west of the house, mm-hmm. and exists today as the North Quarters. I'm told by one of my former students. For reference
points, that was where Sarah's kitchen, Sarah Albritton,
yes.
That's the North Quarters. So the land that you're describing now for Robert Russ's house, the original house, not the one that is like back here by the smokestack, well, it's not there anymore, was on the area, almost, correct me if I'm wrong, where the Ruston High School football field is, or the Greenwood Cemetery?
No,
I'm not even close.
It was where Hillcrest Elementary was.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
1 block off of Trenton Street, which became a thoroughfare. And then behind the quarters, that's where the Ruston High football field is.
Gotcha.
Greenwood Cemetery fronts Alabama Street. I don't know the street on either side, the name.
That's for a future show, not for our concern right now.
But it was quite a few acres. And I do know that the first person buried there was a Mrs. Marbury. Now, I don't know if that was Mr. William Artis Marbury's mother or grandmother, but anyway, that was the first burial there. He named it Greenwood because it was covered with beautiful trees, and people would buy the plots and they could clear their own. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, this day and time, that is not a perpetual care cemetery, and that saddens me.
Well, and so what she's hinting at, and because you already have a cemetery tour, which we will, dare I say, resurrect and refine for future projects for the Lincoln Parish Museum and Historical Society on the cusp of the sesquicentennial. I'm Rick Godley. This is Kay Prince. We are inside of the Ruston, check that, the Lincoln Parish Museum and Historical Society. It's Coffee Cake with K, and the coffee cake provided by PJ's Coffee. We're going to wrap this first episode up in just a moment by teasing the audience for the second episode that we're going to do. And we're going to be talking about the Davises, because we're sitting in the corner in the dining room at the Lincoln Parish Museum with Robert Wesley Davis and Charlotte Long Davis over your head. So that's going to be episode 2.
And these two people built this house.
That's what we're going to get to next. Any closing thoughts? Because we can go far and wide and long on these episodes, and we will, to the degree that time allows us. What else would you like to say on the first episode here?
I would like to say that our town is very fortunate that people moved from Vienna, which had been the parish seat, so to speak, but for Jackson. It was part of Jackson Parish. No, that was part of Union Parish. Okay, but the people came here. Russ served in a government capacity in Jackson Parish too.
Let's close this because you talked to me off the air that Lincoln Parish, even if you look at it, has a geometric shape of a square with a little here and a little there, that it was taken out of 4 corners. Who did that? Was that Robert Russ to create the Lincoln Parish, or is that part of Green? Or am I?
That Lincoln Parish was created in 1873. Wooten Richardson was already here. And so he was very influential. And the 4 parishes would be Claiborne, Union, Jackson.
Bienville?
Huh?
Washita?
Bienville.
Bienville.
Yes, absolutely.
More to come. Coffee Cake with K, brought to you by PJ's Coffee inside the Lincoln Parish Museum and Historical Society. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them below, and we will explore our great past here in the present as we grow to the future. Kay, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Can I say one more thing?
Do you expect me to stop her from saying one more thing? Go ahead.
He and Mr. Russ and his wife had 13 children. And
so therefore they built a hospital.
Yeah. One granddaughter taught me in the 7th grade, Mrs. Jemison. And he has a great-grandson living here now, Charles Jemison. And there may be others, but that I know for sure. And the houses, those red brick houses that were in front of Hillcrest Elementary, those were his children's homes.
There you have it. All right, can I close this portion of the show for now? Or?
Yes, you may.
All right, stick around because we're coming back for episode number 2, Coffee Cakes with Kay. I'm Rick Godley. Kay Prince, thank you so much for watching. Help us grow more by helping us help more. Please share the message out, what we have, and all ideas and creative ideas are welcome here at the Lincoln Parish Museum and Historical Society. We'll stream you later.